When soldiers were cut off from supply lines, surrounded by frost, and facing nights that could kill a man in minutes, they didn't have the luxury of modern tents, heaters, or insulated sleeping bags. And yet, they survived. How? By using the ground beneath their feet as both armor and shelter. From the snow-buried forests of Eastern Europe to the icy slopes of the Italian front, World War II soldiers learned to turn dirt, snow, and wood into life-saving engineering. These weren't makeshift camps. They were tactical shelters, designed for warmth, stealth, and endurance. Built under fire, refined by desperation, and forgotten by history. And in many ways, they outperformed today's camping gear. A tent in war was a liability. It could be spotted by enemy aircraft. It trapped moisture. It lost heat with every gust of wind. So, soldiers did something smarter. They dug down instead of building up. That simple decision changed survival forever. They started by carving trenches just 2 feet deep, wide enough to lie in, narrow enough to hide. Wooden planks, broken crates, or saplings were laid across the top, then covered with branches and a thick layer of soil. What emerged was the dugout, a hidden heat-retaining bunker that could withstand bullets, rain, and even snowdrifts. The science was simple but brilliant. Earth absorbs and stores heat while blocking wind and sound. Inside, a soldier's body heat alone could keep the air several degrees warmer than outside, sometimes the difference between life and death. This underground design was nearly invisible from the sky. Enemy scouts could fly right over a forest line and see nothing but dirt and snow. And since the structure sat below ground level, it didn't flap in the wind or radiate heat like a tent would. In short, nature became armor. Then came one of the strangest discoveries of the war. Snow, the very thing killing soldiers, could also keep them alive. On the Eastern Front, men began carving caves into snowdrifts using helmets or entrenching tools. Inside these white tombs, the air stayed around freezing. Cold, yes, but stable. When it was minus 20 degrees Celsius outside, that was warmth. Snow traps air, and air traps heat. A candle or body warmth was enough to raise the temperature to survivable levels. They'd poke a small vent hole in the ceiling, cover the entrance with branches, and rest inside the silence of packed snow. Unseen, unheard, alive. In forested regions like Karelia and the Ardennes, fallen trees revealed another miracle. Root shelters. When a tree tipped over, its root ball created a natural dome. Soldiers lined the cavity with bark, cloth, or moss, sealed the edges with mud, and used the tangled roots above as camouflage and roof support. It was a shelter built by nature, perfected by necessity, invisible unless you were standing right on top of it. As winters deepened, soldiers began experimenting with half-dugouts, part above ground, part below. Why? Because even a few feet underground, the soil temperature stays steady, insulated from wind and frost. They'd build small stoves from tin cans or ammo boxes, fill them with coals, and pipe smoke through a narrow trench that vented far away from the shelter. No visible flames, no rising smoke, just quiet, invisible warmth radiating through the earth. This was stealth engineering at its finest. Every successful shelter shared one secret: layering. A single wall couldn't save you, but layers could. Wood gave structure. Brush trapped air. Mud or snow sealed heat. And a final cloth layer broke the wind. Even the floors were insulated, with pine needles, dry grass, or burlap, because no one wanted to sleep on frozen soil. Each layer created an air pocket that slowed heat loss. It was simple physics, applied by men who'd never studied it, but lived by it. Today, we have synthetic insulation, reflective blankets, and high-tech tents. But strip all that away, and the same rules still apply. If you're stranded, cold, or lost, go low. Use earth. Layer your materials. Trap air, block wind, and keep moisture out. The WWII soldier didn't survive by luck. He survived by understanding how heat moves and how nature protects those who use it correctly. After the war, these survival tricks faded from manuals. The world moved toward modern materials, factories, and convenience. But in doing so, we lost something vital: the intuition to work with nature, not against it. What those soldiers built with shovels and instinct still outperforms much of what we buy today. For survivalists, bushcrafters, or anyone preparing for uncertain times, these techniques remain gold. You can build a warm, stealthy, and windproof shelter using only natural materials, the same way men did under fire 80 years ago. And in the worst conditions imaginable, it worked. If it saved lives in Stalingrad, it can save lives anywhere. The soldiers of World War II didn't just fight for survival, they engineered it. Their lessons in heat, camouflage, and resilience remind us that true survival isn't about gear. It's about understanding your environment. If you found this story valuable, subscribe to Forgotten Survival for more forgotten wartime ingenuity, and share it, because one day this knowledge might be more than just history.